Welcome everyone to another CTC Software webinar. My name is Sean Zerbis, the Director of BIM Development here at CTC Software, and today we're going to continue the HIVE CMS user learning series, talking in depth about working with saved searches. Now, as always, we keep an eye on the questions window when we do these webinars live, so feel free to throw questions that you have about this topic into the questions window. And also, as always, we are of course recording this. So on our YouTube channel later on, you'll be able to review this particular webinar for future reference. So what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about searching, and specifically searching for things on demand is one of the reasons why we really use the HIVE CMS. So if we're doing the same search over and over though, for the same kind of criteria or similar kind of criteria, then sometimes it makes sense for us to save that criteria so that we can just save even more time. Instead of having to reset all of our filters each time we go through a search, we can save a particular search configuration, and then we can just recall that on demand whenever we need to. So we're going to dig deep, really, in this webinar into the controls of working with your own personal saved searches. Now, we're going to talk a bit about company saved searches as well, because they may already exist for you in some cases, and you can just benefit from that. So we're going to start going through how to work with them. Now, we're going to talk about using the company's saved searches, the corporate ones, and kind of how to identify which ones are shared with you and which ones are your own personal saved searches. We are going to talk about saving your own personal custom saved searches today. We're also going to talk about updating the criteria for those saved searches, because sometimes you change your mind on how something is run or you want to refine it in the future. You can do that. There's a lot of ways we can leverage this to really speed up our searching. And we're also going to talk about editing and or cleaning up our saved searches, because sometimes we find that maybe we don't use this search so much and it's just in the way. It's muddying up our search list and we might want to clean it out. So we'll take a look at how to do that. Now, we're going to do all of this live inside of the HIVE product today. And if you are interested in doing this, you can certainly feel free to follow along and do this alongside me inside the HIVE CMS. Now, first off, we're going to take a look at how to use company saved searches. You may or may not have some of these, but I'm going to show you how you can access them and begin to use them. And to do this, I'm going to open up the HIVE CMS itself here. So I'm signed in as one of my end users here, Joe Demo, and we're going to take a look at where you can find these saved searches to run. Now, my favorite place to go here is the top left corner here of saved searches, because this is always on screen and I can get access to all of these saved searches really quickly, really easily. Another place that you can go if you use these saved searches very regularly is just from the home page. You can go to the saved searches tile and it will show you all of those saved searches there as well. The same ones that are in this top left list you can find right here on this area. And you can also filter these, which is kind of nice. So if I was only looking for saved searches for things like doors, I could type in doors, and then it would come up with just those saved searches. So it's kind of nice. Now, I personally don't use the home page myself too much. I'm typically just on the search window over here, or I'm using this drop down here from the top left. So if you wanted to access a company saved search, that's what we're talking about here, is company saved searches right now. To access those, the top left corner, if you see this little tile of sort of a building with two people on it, when you mouse over that, it'll actually tell you it's shared. So these are searches that were made by somebody else that were shared with you that you can leverage here to kind of find stuff, to use this stuff here. So if I was to click on templates company, it's going to run a search. It's going to set my search string here to a star, an asterisk. It searches for everything. And it sets some specific filters over here where it's looking at a certain library. And it's also looking in the Revit area, because this is a Revit specific search in this case, only at Revit content. And so it's finding me everything in the templates library that's Revit content. That's what that particular saved search, I didn't mean to double click that. That's what that particular saved search does for me here. It does that particular thing. Now I could also do CTC doors, and you'll notice it does something similar. It looks for everything that's in a particular library that's Revit content, in this case, adding on the filter of exclusively doors. And so I can really quickly leverage these pre-saved searches that have been pre-built for me to quickly just find stuff, to find things. And it makes it nice and simple. So in some cases, there might be a search that I build that's special to me or what I'm doing or my kinds of filters that I like to set. Maybe the company hasn't made them in a way that I like them and I want to build my own searches. Well, the nice thing here is within Hive, you can save your own searches, and you do that by setting up whatever your search criteria is here. Let's say I liked most of what the company does, but I'm almost always looking for single swing doors. And so maybe I type in a search string here, something like swing single, and I run that search and see what shows up. Now it's going to find me things that are swing or single, so it's going to find swinging double doors here as well. So maybe I only want single swing doors. I can maybe do something like swing plus single, and this will find me just things that are single, that are labeled as single, and that have the term swing associated with it as well. So it must be both swinging and single doors. So when it finds me that, and within this door here, it probably has a tag of swing or something inside the door, it's going to find me the things that match that criteria. Now, if I do this regularly, instead of me trying and running a couple of different searches of swing single after doing my initial search and then putting in the plus sign there for a single swing, I can just save this. I can save this as my own search. So I'm going to make a brand new save search called swing single doors. It doesn't really matter here. I'm just going to put doors in it. I won't care the fact that it's coming from the Revit content library here. Or maybe I do. Maybe I care about, swing single CTC doors or something, whatever. And so I can put that in there. If I could spell single, that'd be great. No, I can't spell today. Swing single doors. There we go, CTC doors. So I can save this particular search, and I can recall that whenever I want it. So to recall that, I simply go back up here, and I can do anything I want. Templates, or I can run a different search completely. I could clear all my search results. I could do whatever. But if I go back to this list here, and I look through my list, swing single CTC doors, it'll be listed here alphabetically, will appear in my list. And I can go and get right back to that exact search string, that exact library, Revit only in doors, or whatever your filters were that you had set. Makes it real easy to recall those exact criteria without having to figure it out again if you do that on a somewhat steady basis. Okay, so let's just say now that we wanted to update our saved search. Maybe I decided that, you know what, I didn't like that I put swing plus single. Maybe I wanted to add more to it. Maybe I wanted swing doors that are single or double, and I want to figure out how to do something like that. Well, we have a session that's been pre-recorded for this user series about how to use different search strings here. So maybe I want to just kind of put in here single and or double. And I run that search. Let's just see what shows up here if I get what I'm thinking I'm going to get. Yeah, so I'm getting single and double swinging doors in this case. But I had to remember how to do this. Now, if I do this more regularly and I want to replace that search, I want to update that existing saved search, I can do that. So I can resave that search, and instead of making a brand new one, maybe I just want to overwrite one that already exists. And this overwrite list here will provide me a list of search results or saved searches that I made, that I own, that I can control. So in this case, I'm thinking here, maybe I want to replace the one that's this SCZ, my initials, dash swing doors from CTC. So I'm specifically going to replace this one. Now, I made this one earlier today. I'll delete it here in a minute, but I'm going to replace this guy specifically. I'm not going to change anything about it. I'm just going to save on top of it swinging doors from CTC. So it's swing, single, or double doors that are in this library that are Revit content and stores. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit save here, and it's going to replace whatever that was before with my new search query. So now I could run swing single CTC doors, and it would run the original search of swing single, or I can come back here and I can run the search SCZ, swing doors from CTC, and it uses the exact search term that I put in before, filtering for a specific library, Revit doors, and only Revit content, right? So you can leverage these search filters and replace them whenever you need to overwrite what you have. Now, the final thing here is how do we do a little bit of housekeeping? How do we edit some of these, maybe clean them up, maybe, kind of maintain that? So jumping back here into Hive one more time, over here on the left-hand side, there's one button called My Saved Searches, and this lets you manipulate those that you own. I'm going to refresh this list because it should, in theory, have that other swing doors in there. Yeah, there it is. It just took it a second to populate. It has all three of the saved searches that I made, that I own right now. So if I wanted to, say, edit this one, maybe I want to change the naming convention to match what I had been doing before. So I could edit this and I could change the name. That's what this edit lets me do. So maybe I want to put in like SCZ swing single doors from CTC. Maybe I want to just kind of do that. Maybe I want to give it a description so I know what that's actually for. Maybe I describe a bit about what's going on inside of there. So I could change that name if I wanted to. Or in this case, because I'm just going to do swing doors in general, and I don't care if it's single or double in this case, because this one already handles that, maybe I want to delete this guy. So I can select it and I can delete it. And that's going to remove it from my saved searches. It's going to completely get rid of it. So it's going to delete that one out. Now, quick note here, I didn't mention this earlier. I did mention you can go here to the drop down. You can see all of your saved searches and the ones you have access to, those that are shared with you. You can go to the Home tab to save searches, as I mentioned before, and that'll show you all the same list, those that you have access to, that are yours and that are corporately shared with you. But you can filter for exclusively your own saved searches. If maybe that corporate list is too muddy and you don't like it, you can go here and see just yours. And you can execute your saved searches right from here as well by either double clicking on them and it'll run that particular saved search, or you can select it and click execute, and that will run the search in the same exact way. So from here, you can edit and maintain these by deleting them, editing the names and descriptions. You can refresh if you've made ones and they're not showing on the list that you expect, and you can also run them right from here as well. So you can just click and execute or double click on them to run it with all the search criteria, which will bring you directly to the search window. All right, I'm going to say thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in our next Hive User Learning Series webinar and other CTC webinars. Have a fantastic day.